The spring transfer portal window is open, and the Aggies need more than I thought they would.
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on into Locked On Aggies. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak. Thanks for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. On the show today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk a little bit about the transfer portal. As I said, we're going to talk about I want y'all to stick around today. We've been talking a little bit about quarterbacks the last few days, and got some comments yesterday, and which I love this back and forth. But I really, I think I'm not trying to kind of doomsday Armageddon scare everybody about quarterback. And I mean, those of y'all everydayers here know that I'm generally pretty positive and try to be. And I have some genuine concerns, and I'm going to try and keep kind of going after it. So stick around for segment 3 today, because I have a lot of quarterback conversations to have. A lot of great comments yesterday and on Monday, and I just want to talk about a few more things there. And I want to talk about why I think this is kind of a make or break year for Colin Klein for his future as a coach, and I think that he's got a lot to prove this year for this Texas A&M offense. But getting started with this transfer portal stuff, it was funny. I mean, I felt like a week ago there wasn't a lot. I knew we were going to make a move or two in the portal, but I wasn't really sure what. That's why I wanted to watch the spring game to kind of get a feel for what we needed. And I don't think anything changed. There's one position I think we need that we're going. I believe we're going after. There's one kid that we've reached out to or something like that. But then there's another position where I've seen that we reached out to a kid, and I'm like, I don't know why we need this player. So we'll talk about that. So defensive tackle to me is a need. I think you're good on the outside on your defensive line, your edge rushers and your ends. I think we need some more big guys in the middle, And I mean, you've got some guys you've got some players that are capable and going to have good seasons for the Aggies this year. I think that Regis is a great example. I think Oyenum, I think that he's a player that you could consider an end, or he could play a little tackle. He could, but I still think you need more beef in the middle. I do. Hicks is in there too. I think we need a little bit more beef in the middle. And whether it's, I'm not saying go get a guy that maybe not even a guy you anticipate being a starter, but it does feel like one of the most, I think the word I would use would be lack of depth. And we'll use a group of words. This is the most lack of depth we have at a position would be our defensive tackle room. And a position that, once again, historically has been really good for Texas A&M, and you've got to make sure that you have the roster capable of putting up good numbers. And, that's why I think they're going to I believe they'll go get one more defensive tackle. I do. I feel very confident in that fact. I really don't. I don't see a world where they don't go at that position. And I think one guy would suffice. I don't think you need to go get 4 defensive tackles. I think one guy would get the job done, especially seeing some of these freshmen defensive linemen all over the defensive lines. Obviously, Jones can go on the outside. And, I think Landon Rink did a lot well. You got a lot of young defensive linemen all over the defensive line, all over the different positions that I think have a legit chance to make an impact this season. But yeah, I think if you go get 1, maybe 2 defensive tackles, I feel good about the defensive line. Linebacker, I'm good. Secondary, this is one I was impressed with the secondary. Obviously that we were concerned about the secondary. We did not feel great about the secondary. I was impressed with the secondary. I thought that the secondary looked pretty solid. Some freshmen stepping up, some of our veterans stepping up. Our transfer portal additions looked pretty good. I feel a lot better about the secondary. Now, if you want to go at, like, I have a few positions where I'm like, if you wanted to go add a flyer, maybe to add some depth and give you some, upside, go do it. The secondary position, I'm fine with you doing that. But I don't necessarily think that it's like the world will end if you do not go get another player in the secondary. So, I mean, I just think Humphrey and Shaw and Will Lee. I mean, I just think you've got a pretty darn good base right there. You've got good. I like our safeties. I like all the freshmen we got. I just think, I think you're in a pretty good spot. I think you're in a better spot there than we would have expected to be. And a lot of that is thanks to those two transfers in Shaw and Humphrey. Now this is where it gets interesting. I saw somewhere that we reached out to, I want to pull up this kid's name. The receiver from Georgia State. Let me give you his name. I literally saw it this morning and already forgot it. Ted Hurst. Ted Hurst is a player that I've seen that we are pursuing or are going to pursue. I want to look up on Twitter to see. No, he just entered. Yeah, he just entered last night. I haven't seen anything. Someone wrote an article saying. See, there it is. I like this actually from Callaway. Texas A&M doesn't need to add another receiver, but what a luxury Ted Hurst would be from Georgia State. I agree with this. Ted Hurst is a player that is really good and put up solid numbers. I don't know. My thoughts on this, I mean, Ted Hurst is a 6'3", 185-pound receiver, put up 961 yards and 9 touchdowns last season for the Georgia State Panthers in his first year there. I don't know where he was before that because on ESPN he's only listed as 2024, but he's listed as a junior, so maybe he was a JUCO guy or something like that. But, I mean, I really like some of our players in Ashton Bethel Roman. And I mean, obviously Terry Bussey, and obviously you have Craver and Concepcion. I don't know why we would go now. Yeah. If Ted Hurst wanted to come play here, I'd take him. But what I'm saying is, I don't know. I mean, do we think that he's better than Terry Bussey, Concepcion, Craver? I don't think so. I really don't. I think Ted Hurst is a great receiver, but I don't think first of all, I think he'll be asking for a significant amount of money. If I had to guess, just because he put up good numbers, he's a great player. There's no question there. But I think the Aggies can go get another player. I don't think they need to go get another receiver, to be honest with you. But if they do, I don't see this happening, and I'm going to look like an idiot when he ends up coming here. But I just don't see it happening. Because I don't see the staff feels good about Bussey. The staff feels good about Concepcion and Craver and Bethel Roman. I mean, you feel pretty good about your wide receiver room. So what I'm saying is, you might lose one of those guys if you bring in a guy like this. But I'm all for it. If they go get him, I think he becomes your one out on the depth in the 2 deep. I think he's your first player out, maybe. If he beats out ABR, but I think that this would be an interesting one is what I'm getting at here. I would be surprised if, we'll see if we legitimately pursue him. I've seen articles saying we should pursue him. I haven't seen anything official that we have pursued him, but if he sets up a visit and this gets serious, it's going to be very, very interesting. But he is one of the best group of 5 receivers in all of college football. I'm not saying if he wants to come here, bring him here. I guess let me take one more stab at this. I guess what I'm getting at here is I think you might lose one of your players on your roster. There's a chance that if it's like a lower end receiver, we're not too worried about whatever. But would we want to lose a Bussey or Like I don't know. I don't know about wanting to lose a player like that. But yeah, this is a kid that's going to come in and have a great year, and I think be an NFL player. So If you can get him here, go get him here. I'm just saying there's a chance you might lose somebody. Maybe not this year, maybe next year, whatever. But it's kind of one of those things, whatever the staff thinks. I don't think we need him, but if we could get him, I'd obviously take him. The last position I want to talk about within portal stuff is running back. And I haven't seen us really reach out to anybody, but I have some concerns here, and I'm going to talk about that coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I want to talk about our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into player props. From three-pointers to steals to assists, FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into same-game parlays for a chance to win big. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. So this is another thing that I think is kind of like you could interpret this either way type of conversation about the running back room. But, I mean, Moss, I still haven't heard a great timeline on him. I don't know what his deal is. I mean, we haven't heard anything about, like, when, is he going to be ready for the first game? Is he going to be mid-season? I haven't heard from anybody any kind of update on him. And I don't know. I mean, just like I was we'll talk about Marshall Reed in a minute, but I mean, Ruben Owens, I am not hitting the panic button, but I'm hovering over it. I mean, I don't think he looked as good as I anticipated him looking. Now, I believe that he has the upside to get there. I believe that he's going to be able to take his game to the next level. And he's, once again, as we've seen, he is not at 100%. He's still battling back from that injury. He says, he's probably 85, 80%, and maybe 90. He's still got some ways to go. And that he's got that 5-star talent in him, but he's still got to get it out of himself. And I mean, I'm just saying, I know we've got a lot of and you've got the freshmen, you've got a lot of running backs, but I'm just saying, I wouldn't be upset to go get kind of like a better EJ Smith, to be honest with you. I mean, I just think a player like that, I'm not going to, nail the hammer too hard on this conversation. I'm just saying, if Moss is going to take a while to come back, I would maybe go get a depth receiver. A depth running back. That's all I'm saying. I'm not too concerned about it. I'd say I'm like a 4 out of 10 concerned about it, but something still to monitor. I want to talk about how big of a season this is going to be for Colin Klein as the offensive coordinator of the Aggies. I think that, last year, it's hard to pin last year's offensive struggles strictly on Colin Klein. The offense wasn't like overall terrible. Where were we in the SEC? Like what I'm saying, it wasn't the best, but I'm just saying it could have, I think it could have been a lot worse. We were number 9 in, offense and points per game and all that. It could have been a lot worse. There's no question. About middle of the pack in the conference when it came to offense. But I think that this is almost one of those things where I sound like I'm getting like a lecture from my dad. And it's like, I just think Colin Klein has more in him than that. I think he can be better than that. I think that he's one of the best. And I said this last year, I still believe he'll be a head coach sometime soon. I think he's one of the young up and coming stars of college football. And I think he's going to have a head coaching job. But I think to do that, first of all, he's got to prove that he can develop Marshall Reed. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But he's got to put together a good season in every aspect of an offense. You want to have good rushing yards per game. You want to have good being able to pass the football. You want to be able to do it all offensively. We've seen teams that struggle to have that that difference in there's a word I always use all the time, and I'm literally blanking on it right now, and it's really making me angry. But and it's going to come to me in a second. But I balance. Thank you. Gosh darn. He needs to have that balance. And now, I don't know if he's going to have the balance this year, just based on what we saw, in the passing attack. I still think we're gonna throw the football a good amount, and we're going to be more competitive as a passing team. More so right now, honestly, I think because of the receivers than the quarterback play. But I think you got good enough receivers where if you just throw it up there, they're going to catch it. But Colin Klein, I think he still has 4 or 5 months to get Marcel Reed to that next level. And I think if he does get him to the next level, and I mean, once again, I've said it, if Marcel Reed is a passer right now, is a 4 or a 5 out of 10, you ain't getting him to a 9 or a 10 by the start of the season. But if you could get him to a 6 or a 7, that would be incredibly ideal. And I think that's realistic. I think it is realistic for Coach Klein to get him to that level. So, I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, the Aggies have to have a better offensive season. And what would I think they will, but I'm saying the reason it would be frustrating if they didn't would be because of how talented this offense is as a unit. I mean, you've got a great running back room. Obviously, you got to get Moss back and healthy, but you've got a great running back room. Your receivers, you did a heck of a job in the portal at that position. I think the tight ends are in a better spot. And your offensive line, once everybody's good to go and you have your starting 5 together out there, this is going to be a solid offense. So I'm just saying, my take is Coach Klein has the weapons to have a good season. And I just think if Marcel Reed has it in him to be a good passer, and I've talked about that, it's going to come down to development. Coach Klein has to prove that he can develop quarterbacks. If he isn't going to be a great developer of quarterbacks, knowing he is a quarterback himself, I just don't see him being a great coordinator for a long time, because that needs to be his number one duty, is being a great quarterback developer. So he needs to find a way to continue to develop Marcel Reed. And if he's going to do that, he needs to do it soon. So I think that's what he's got to prove. If he's got to prove he wants to be a head coach and he wants to be a great coordinator, whatever, he needs to develop Marcel Reed. So he's got a few more months to get him better and get him there. But I think once again, I don't think the form of Marcel Reed y'all saw in the spring game is going to be the form you see in the first game of the season. But it's still something Coach Klein is going to have to take care of and get better. But yeah, I think this is a make or break year for Coach Klein when it comes to the future of him as a coach. And I think he's going to do a pretty darn good job taking this offense from what it was, number 9, to being a top 5 offense in the SEC, maybe even top 3 if Reed can develop more as a passer. I want to take one more stab at talking to y'all about the quarterback play in the spring game. I've seen a lot of folks disagreeing with me. Appreciate that. Cool with that. I just want to share. Sometimes I'll have these conversations and I'll kind of look back on it and go, man, I wish I would have made this point, this point, this point. And I want to do that. We're not going to beat this quarterback thing to death. I just really want to talk a little bit more about this and kind of share some thoughts. So we'll talk about that coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I want to tell you about our friends over at Amazon Fire TV. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles with EA Sports College Football 25, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and Avowed as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. With Wi-Fi 6/6E and auto low latency mode, advanced technology, Fire TV Stick 4K delivers smoother, more responsive gameplay with lightning fast speed you need to stay competitive. I don't do a ton of gaming, not a lot, but I actually know a friend that has the system, and I was over at his house doing this on the Fire TV, and it was really cool. And it looks just like you're playing on the console. You'd have no idea that you're not playing this on a console. It's a really cool thing, and I absolutely loved seeing about it. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including 4K TV stick, Fire TV Stick 4K. Fire TV Stick 4K Max, and Fire TV Cube. So quarterback play. I want to take one more stab at this, like I told y'all. I mean, So, you talk about, yes, Marcel Reed did complete 64% of his passes in the game, and he had a couple good throws. There was one deep throw to Craver. There was the touchdown pass to Ashton Bethel-Roman that looked good. There were a lot of cards dealt against him. There were people in his face all game long. His offensive line, because once again, it wasn't our starting five, which is part of the issue. That's why I said we shouldn't read too much into this. What was not great, but what I'm reading into is just he doesn't look comfortable in the pocket. And to be a good quarterback, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So what I'm saying is, if I would have said he didn't look comfortable, people would say, well, yeah, he was being rushed all game long. That's going to happen. You know what I mean? That's football. And good quarterbacks find options. They roll out and find somebody. They get 5 yards running the ball. And he's still going to be able to do that. He wasn't able to do that in this game. I mean, he did it some, but because you can't tackle a quarterback. I think this version of Marcel Reed, we win 7 football games. I'm not saying we're going to have a losing season. I think we would win 7, a chance at 8. But if you want to go to the NFL playoffs, to the college football playoff, Marcel Reed has to take another step as a passer. That's just the reality. And I mean, I'm not okay being mediocre anymore. That's the reality. I'm not okay winning 7 or 8 football games. This football program has the roster to be a playoff team, and Marcel Reed's got to be better. You know what I mean? He lost in the spring game, which who cares? I'm just saying he's got to start winning some football games. He's got to prove that he can do it. And I believe he can do it. I think he's got to continue to develop. I'm just saying right now, I don't think Marcel Reed is where he needs to be. And what I'm saying is, yes, I think we all kind of go, whoa, man, look, do you remember, but what about that one pass? Yeah, those few passes. He had a few good passes, of course. But I mean, to win a football game, a few good passes isn't going to do it. You need to have a lot of consistently good throws to where they just feel normal for a quarterback like Marcel Reed. So to me, he didn't pass the eye test. Yes, he had a 64% completion percentage. He had a nice touchdown pass. He did throw a pick. I mean, there's a lot going on there, but I am concerned. And like I said, I'm not like we're screwed, we're going to have a terrible season concerned. I'm just saying he's got a little bit more to go. I was hoping he'd be a little bit more polished in this game than he looked to me. And yes, once again, there were cards dealt against him. He was getting rushed all game long, different things like that. But those are things as a quarterback you have to be able to adapt, and you have to be able to take your game to the next level and find a way to be competitive with that. So, I mean, that's my thoughts on this. I just think he's got a little bit more ways to go. I mean, does anybody honestly right now think this version of Marcel Reed today, right now, is ready to take Texas A&M to a college football playoff? I think it's a little asinine to say yes to that. I think he's got more developing to go. The good news is he's got, once again, is it 4 or 5-ish months until the game in the end of August. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to be negative. I don't want to be negative. All I want to do is come on here and tell y'all how great I think Marcel Reed is and how he's going to win the Heisman and how we're going to win the national championship. That's all I want to do. But he's not in a position for any of those things to happen right now. He's got to continue to develop. And if he does that, this team can make the college football playoff. If he doesn't, I think we win 7 or 8 football games. That's the reality. He can win a 7 or 8 right now, but I don't think he can win us 9 or 10. And we got to get to a spot where he can win us 9 or 10 if the Aggies are going to make the college football playoff. That's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Aggies. Thank y'all so much for being here every single day. I really, really do appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great rest of their Thursday. We'll see you here tomorrow on Friday. Talk a little about the Texas A&M baseball series. Big one coming up. Fired up about that. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Aggies.